Here with a few reflections on opportunities, challenges, and priorities in connection with the joint Public Policy and Business School at Mills College. Before we begin, allow me to issue a small disclaimer. I've been away from Mills for several months, and even before that was not a Loki School insider. My observations here are thus those of an observer with both the benefits and liabilities of some distance. I hope they'll give you an idea of how I think about things, even if you notice that I get some details wrong, or have what you think are serious misimpressions about where things are going or how things are. Were I to come on board, I'd start by doing a lot of listening to get the straight story. There's a reason there are not many joint business and public policy schools. It's not exactly a natural match. Even though many of the underlying social science and mathematical tools and decision models are the same, the fact that one focuses on private goods with hopes that building a better one will have the world beating a path to your door, while the other one focuses on public goods that everyone can use without paying for, or that one builds business models to try to show how to make money off an idea, while the other builds logic models to try to show that the money spent will have an effect on the world, or that we train students to deal with complex systems. In one case, it's about a global supply chain, and in the other, it's about a dizzying array of stakeholders, or that in one, students learn that markets are a good thing that can be dominated, while in the other, market can be a bad word and the focus is on how they fail, or that the policy person wants to know if something is worth doing with the public's money, while the business person has to decide whether it's worth doing with their own or their investors' money. And with loaded terms like welfare and profit designating what we want to produce, all these things make the partnership a potentially fraught one. That said, what the fields have in common is a pretty solid foundation for pursuing the relationship. At their core, both are about the efficient use of resources to achieve our goals, and both have a big focus on how to use organizations as effective tools for getting things done. And as already mentioned, both fields are applied versions of some of the same sciences. And finally, at their most basic, both the business person and the policy person are looking for sustainable, creative solutions to problems worth solving. Some of the challenges in this relationship are banal. Like any human group, there is a tendency to fetishize small differences and create divisions where there aren't any, and there's a tendency toward sloppy thinking and a failure to make distinctions that do matter. Against these, there are some mundane reasons to pursue the relationship. We can share resources, we can stick up for one another when the humanists or the scientists or the Xists or the Yists take aim at our pragmatic and applied nature. More profoundly, though, there is a genuine challenge to grapple intellectually with the similarities and the differences. All professionals are trained to see the world through one lens. What is here looks natural, what is there appears alien. And so both the complementarity and the supplementarity of these fields can be difficult to harness. It certainly does not happen all by itself. And there's the challenge of innovation. This thing we are doing is innovative. And it involves a lot of actual heavy lifting for us to learn something about one another's perspectives. On the other hand, this thing we are trying to do is fertile with opportunity. Oakland is a destination city for smart and motivated people. If we can put an interesting alternative program out there, we should be able to capture a good following, even though we'll never match the prestige of some of our neighboring institutions. And, two, we are blessed by the center of gravity of Silicon Valley moving north and west, heading directly toward us. And then there's innovation. We have an opportunity to make something new and interesting, and we have the opportunity to expand our intellectual horizons on the job. There are also some substantive opportunities sitting there waiting for us to exploit. One of the hottest things going on these days is a question about how to manage and deploy interdisciplinary teams. We are poised to lead here since it's exactly what we're doing to make this happen at all. We're also dealing with our own local question of what it means to run an institution like a college as a business. We can grapple with this and with the program we are creating at the same time. And all around us, people are asking, can a business be run like something other than a business? And finally, from healthcare at the national level down to the community organizations around the corner, public-private partnerships are bringing worlds of policy and business together more and more all the time. And then there's a really big elephant in the room. Our juxtaposition of policy and business foreshadowed one of the great questions of the day. If we are entrepreneurial enough to see our hybrid school as an opportunity to create new knowledge and a new breed of professional, we can tie right into this really big national challenge. What, you might ask, do I think our long and short-term goals might be? Long-term in higher education is maybe 5, perhaps 10 years. I think that in that time frame, we should aspire to be the anchor unit of a revitalized 21st century institution of higher learning. I think we should aspire consistently to provide an excellently transformative learning experience to a wide range of would-be business and policy folks, both terms broadly understood. And finally, we should aspire to be a recognized player in the Bay Area higher education scene, known for doing extremely well that very different thing that we do. In the short term of the next year or 2, or 3, we should aspire to recruit 100 new students per year. We should finally forge and articulate our joint identity. We should coherently and transparently assess the costs and benefits of accreditation and lay out a sensible path thereto. We should achieve a healthy and mutually beneficial relationship with the rest of the college, and we should solidify our play in the innovation arena. To figure out what we should be doing, I find it helpful to try to visualize the answer to the question of why we exist and what we're trying to do. We need to remind ourselves of what we're trying to accomplish. We're delivering something to our students, a vision, some wisdom, some skills. We give something to the world, ideas, skilled graduates, solutions to problems. We provide a benefit to the college, ideas, reputational capital, and yes, money capital. And we provide a benefit to the people who work here. We endeavor to be a fulfilling place to work and a place where staff as well as students develop their skills and talents. If we aren't doing those things, there's no reason to be here. But to accomplish them, we need to be viable, both financially and organizationally, and we need to be desirable. We have to provide what students want and need, graduate people with skills and characteristics that companies want to hire, and we have to use our good judgment to figure out what the world needs in terms of problem solvers, whether or not the employers are asking for it today. Financial viability, of course, is about revenue and costs, and revenue is the big one for us. It comes from tuition and from gifts, and we need to be thinking a lot about what we have to offer to generate that tuition. We should be thinking hard about what, other than degrees, we might offer to the people who want to learn something from us. The next thing we might pay attention to is what sort of organizational infrastructure we've erected to get things done. And then, remembering that our core business is teaching and learning, we have to grapple with the question of our pedagogical productivity. How can we teach more people better, more easily? And finally, we should turn some of what we try to teach young innovators and entrepreneurs back on what we're trying to do. Within this thicket, I find a number of things we should attend to forthwith. I'm sure these are just the tip of the iceberg and they might not be the right priorities. I hope we can talk about that. But this should give you an idea about how I like to think about what we're doing and how I try to pull a to-do list and a project management scheme out of it. Because to my mind, that's the only way you can get a complex system like the one that we're dealing with here to be full of the kind of positive reinforcing feedback that's needed if we are going to thrive. But first things first, I noticed when looking over the website that we have renamed the school, but even the first page makes it hard to find the MPP program, and so I'd like to make this happen first. Thanks for your attention. I look forward to having a conversation.